Hey there guys, what's up? Ragtter here, welcoming you back to UU Wednesday, the show where we take a look at the underused format of Pokemon Showdown. I have built a new team from scratch, and I must say I'm pretty impressed with it. Let's take a look-see, and I'll explain it for just a little bit. I'll try to be brief. Okay, so I'm on the other side. That's not my glorious Arcanine, but I do have a pretty awesome fire type. My team focuses around two win conditions. On the special side, I have Suicune. On the physical side, I've got Mega Absol. Because what's better than Mega Absol? Nothing. Mega Absol makes people rage quit. Oh, I love it. We brought a few other favorites of mine back, like Starmie and Roserade. And introducing some new faces, we have Florges and Entei. So this Starmie is a bulky rapid spinner. This is an Assault Vest Entei. Florges is obviously my special tank. We have the physically defensive Suicune, so that adds up to a pretty bulky team. On the Fast and Furious side, we have Mega Absol and Roserade, who is a toxic spikes laying Roserade. This is to help Absol and Suicune deal with walls just a bit better. So, what am I up against here? Well, we've got an Alakazam, an Aerodactyl, Blissey, Diancie, Arcanine, and another Starmie. I actually had no idea what he wanted to lead with, so I figured I would lead with Absol just to see what he would want to bring out, and it turns out he leads off with Ares, and the God of War is a pretty boss guy. So, gotta say, I'm not really looking forward to facing the God of War, the husband, rather lover, of Aphrodite. Don't want to get on her bad side. So, as the battle starts, I get intimidated by Arcanine, and I decide it's a good time to switch into Suicune. Because what better time to bring in your bulky water type than when you're fighting Arcanine? Now, Suicune does take a small amount of damage from the close combat, but Arcanine's defenses fall, and that presents me with a very strong opportunity to set up a Calm Mind. And aside from this Starmie, and maybe the Alakazam, there's not really much that can oppose me. Look at this super effective Thunderbolt, it does 34%. My not very effective Scald did just shy of that, falling in at 28%. Now, here is the problem. Instead of going for a second Scald, I actually went for a second Calm Mind, and then I kind of lost my nerve. I was like, oh no, I don't really want to risk trying to take that. So I went into Entei, and here's the thing with Entei. He is a boss. Look at that. Destroying the Starmie, taking the Surf. Without the Assault Vest, I would have lost Entei there. But Starmie kills itself on its own Life Orb, but Arcanine comes in and it's time to get Entei out of there. And I go into my own Starmie actually, because, like I said, this is a pretty bulky Starmie. And as you can see, I fare a bit better than his Starmie did. So he decides to switch into Dumbledore, who takes a decent amount of damage from the Scald, though it's not a fight I can win one-on-one. So I decide to switch out of Starmie and I go into Florges, because Florges is specially tanky and doesn't fear anything that Alakazam could bring to the table. Even Alakazam's strongest stab, while that does do more than a third, it's not enough to threaten Florges at this moment in time. And when he sees the Wish, he decides to go into his Christian Bliss, Blissey. I set up the Protect just to be safe, turns out I didn't need it. Now I go for a second Wish, and he makes a really smart play in going for the Stealth Rock, so I can't bring Entei in, but I can bring in Starmie, and I can use Starmie to rapid spin these rocks away. I do have the Recover myself, but being given a recovery is never a bad thing. So Blissey sets up its own Wish, and heads out to Alakazam, who gets back to full courtesy of that Wish, but I'm not terribly afraid of the Alakazam. We've got Florges here to take all those hits for days. Now, I'm kind of expecting some switch play going on, so as he goes out to Blissey again, I decide to go for a Wish, and this time I'm going to try to pass it off to Entei. Now before Blissey can get off its rocks, it's time to switch into Entei. Here come the rocks again, just like I expected, and Entei gets back to above half, which is just nice. Now, again, he could have brought the Arcanine in on me, so I wanted to go for the extreme speed just to get some damage off on something and be safe. As it would turn out, Crystal the Strip, aka Diancie, ends up coming in and takes the extreme speed. The Wish brings it back to full, and I decide that I should probably make use of Starmie while I've still got it. So Starmie takes the Diamond Storm reasonably well. I was actually expecting to lose Starmie there with how dramatic that particle effect was. But he switches out of Diancie, lets me get off a rapid spin, and if I know what this thing wants to do by now, it's gonna set up more stealth rocks. So I stay in and go for the recover. And here come those rocks. Starmie's almost back at full, but then again, so is the Blissey. And I'll rapid spin again. And now Blissey goes for another wish. I can only imagine what it's going to send in this time. So, time to get out of Starmie and go into Roserade. I'm determined to get off at least one layer of Toxic Spikes so that this madness with the stalling just stops. But here comes Alakazam, and now I have to be very careful. I decide to switch into Absol, predicting the Psychic Stab, and one Sucker Punch blows Alakazam out of the water. And that's a big threat to my team just out of the way right then and there. Now I switch out of Absol, it's time to go back into Roserade, who takes the Diamond Storm very unpleasantly. I'm only going to be able to get off one layer of Toxic Spikes, but one should be enough. It's not badly poisoned, but it does hinder anything that happens to get statused, and he doesn't have a means of removing them unless he brings an Aerodactyl. So I bring in Suicune, knowing that I can take an attack and get off a rest. And even if Diancie had, by some stretch of the imagination, gone first, at 25% I would have lived that, so that's pretty good to know. So, Suicune is now stuck into 2 Sleep Talks. This is the classic Crocoon set, wherein you run Calm Mind, Sleep Talk, Rest, and Scald. So, I managed to get off a Calm Mind in my sleep, and on the next turn I'll be able to attack. As these Stealth Rocks come up, the time is pretty much nigh to end this game. He doesn't have anything that can stop Suicune's sweep now, which is all the beauty of this win condition. So, my second Calm Mind goes up, and it is time to begin punching his 4 remaining Pokemon in their proverbial faces. Ares comes in, probably looking to hit me with a Wild Charge if I had to take a guess. No such luck, Ares. You are gone. Kratos is the god of war now. Well, Cacaw comes in, and Cacaw tries its hardest, but my Suicune is just too bulky, and Aerodactyl Mega Edition is also blown off the field. And he knows he's lost at this point. Diancie comes in, Diancie gets poisoned, Diancie gets scalded. Diancie takes a lot of damage, actually, and managed to do a lot with a crit, but even a crit does less than half, so it's not like he could rely on that to win, and Diancie goes down, and with that, my opponent acknowledges his defeat, calls GG, and leaves. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my new UU team, made of some old favorites of mine, and some new ones too. I wasn't expecting... I was a bit disappointed with how Entei just really didn't see much action. I really wanted to bust him out and have him tear through the opponent. I was looking forward to it. But winning with Suicune, never a bad thing. Never a bad thing at all. I only lost 1 Pokemon in that whole engagement, so the defensive synergy of my team really ended up playing well together. I had an answer for pretty much everything he did. Looking at his team now, the one thing that I definitely didn't have a check for was the Blissey. Though I did have Mega Absol with the knockoff and the superpower in weight, and then Entei also could have come in. And if I had managed to have gotten a second layer of Toxic Spikes, Roserade's Toxic Spikes would have spelled the end of that Blissey eventually. Though it might have been carrying the Heal Bell. It's tough to say. But either way, that was a good game, and I had a lot of fun, and it put my team through its paces. I got to see how it measured up against a lot of different threats. Alakazam, Mega Aerodactyl, and Blissey are all big heavy hitters. Well, not heavy hitters, but they're all big figures and underused. So it was good to see how I did. I hope you guys enjoyed that battle, and I'll see you on Friday for RU Friday. Everyone's favorite day of the week. Until then, guys, take care, have a good one, and bye-bye!